Do you ever wonder if you are actually moving forward on your spiritual path, on the path of joy, happiness, inner peace? Or did you ever wonder if you are healing fast enough? Well, hopefully, this video will help you. My name is Carl. I was born in war many years ago, and having faced big challenges, traumas, having to flee my country at the age of 12, life kind of forced me to look inside much faster than I would have liked to. And for the last 20 years, I've been researching for the cause of my suffering and found ways to experience more inner peace, more joy, more happiness. And the last few years, I've been sharing my work with people that are willing to listen or that resonate with the message. So hopefully this helps you. So to go back to the subject, how do we know if we are making progress on the spiritual path or if we are actually maturing or growing or healing ourselves, our emotional wounds, our traumas? And the answer is very straightforward, very simple. Now, if we are aware of things that usually trigger us, if we are aware of patterns that we usually get stuck in, that's how we measure. That's the starting point of how we measure progress. Meaning that, let's say, just give me an example. If I have a friend that when I speak with him, there's always tension or I feel unease, anxious, angry, and I work on myself. I try to see what's making me have these emotions. And after a while, I speak with that same friend and I don't feel that anymore. I don't feel that tension. I don't feel that anger or anxiety, whatever emotion comes up. Well, that means that something changed in me. And what changed, and this is the main message that I want to share today, that I'm inspired to share with you guys. What changed is the information inside of me that was guiding my reaction when my friend or any other person was talking to me. So if we look at the cause of why we suffer, it could be in a relationship. Sometimes it could be just our own thoughts create suffering. The reason why we suffer, in my experience, having spent hundreds of hours looking to myself, reading books, speaking with people, helping people, the reason why we suffer is because we have information inside of us, we have data inside of us that tells us how we should react to some situations. So I'll give you an example. Let's say for me, it could be, it's not the case, but it could be that since I went through war, if I hear a door in my room close or slam, that could create the same reaction as if a bomb landed near my neighborhood. So do you see how we start gathering data at a very young age? So the data in this case would be, well, if there's a big sound, a big boom, whatever it is, that means there's danger. So that data, unless I do something about it, and we could talk about that in a few moments, that data stays in me. And then the moment life situation takes place where that data could be triggered, it'll come back. So if the door slams, the data tells me this sounds pretty much like what you experienced as a child. That means there's danger. So how do we know if we are making progress on the healing path, on the spiritual path? It applies also to spiritual path. Is, are we able, instead of always feeling like we have to react the way the data tells us we have to react, are we able to transform that reaction? So if I do the right things, the way I handle that data, that feedback that I get, after a while, the door slamming is not going to cause me the same kind of anxiety it would cause me maybe a few years ago. So I hope it's clear. So we're born, and I think we're born already with some data inside of us. It could be, we could call these genes, right? They're already in us. I've noticed different kids have different nervous systems as well. One child could be very cranky, or he could get very anxious quickly if he hears some noises. The other one would even notice them. So I think we have data in our nervous system in terms of what is danger, what we perceive as dangerous or threatening. And obviously we have genetics, right? That's also data, right? The color of the hair, the skin, things like that. So that's what I mean by data. And if we look at emotional suffering or spirituality, is basically is, are we able to, first of all, notice the data? So, okay, I notice my reaction to the door slamming. That's the first step. I don't know why I react that way, but I notice it. So that's the data. Something tells me if the door closes hard, there's danger. So that's the data. Now, what do I do about it? The next step is, once I notice it, the next step is to watch it. Because I want to learn. I want to learn why I react that way. So I'm curious about it. And the trap here that is very subtle and that we always fall into is that we judge what we learn. I shouldn't be that way. This happened many years ago. Why am I reacting this way? I'm not good enough for this. This will never go away. So that's a lot of judgments. Or we also fall in the trap of believing the data. So we just, and that's very normal, very natural, because the nervous system, the emotions, past experiences trigger very intense emotions as if the past event is happening right now. I'm sure you've experienced that. It takes just a fraction of a moment where we get anxious. We think there's no reason to get anxious, but the data tells us we should get anxious. And then all the emotions and then all the images and the drama takes over. And we believe that there's real danger, even though there's nobody threatening us physically right now. So the traps are to judge, to add things or to remove things because it's easier to accept that way. So I could say removing things could be like, well, it's okay, it's not that bad. I'm just kind of trying to remove from the intensity, or it's just too uncomfortable for me to accept it as it is. So I would say things like, oh, it'll pass. It's just a stupid reaction. Or adding to it, well, this is the end of the world. I will never be able to get over it. So if you could look at your own examples while I'm doing this, you could look at inside. What are the things, what is the data inside of you? And you could say, well, I don't know what he's talking about. Well, look at your actions. Look at how you behave without judgment. That's the data. That's how something is telling you inside to behave a certain way when certain situations happen. It could be from the moment you open your eyes, suffering takes over, or you don't feel good. Explore, watch the data. And that's how you can become meditative, because you're watching. You're learning from the data, from the feedback you're getting. It's all inside of you. All the information you need is inside of you. Obviously, if you feel like you want to do therapy and things like that, that's fine also. But it's still the same principle. So how do you know if you're making progress? Well, that data inside of you starts transforming. So the same door that slams doesn't bring the same reaction. It brings a normal reaction, which is, oh, just for a moment, I wasn't sure what that was. And then now that I know that it's the door, I'm back to the present moment and it ends there. So what is it for you? Is it a colleague at work? So there's a colleague at work, and right away, sometimes just by looking at somebody, there's data inside of us telling us this is how we should react. This person did this to me. That's the data. That's the information guiding your actions. This person answered me that way last week or a few years ago, and and I will never forgive that person for doing that. So that's the data that's controlling you, that's guiding you. So the first step would be to question it. Say, okay, well, let's watch it. Let's look at it. And another trap is that because that data is there to protect you, it's there to keep you safe, or that's what it thinks it's doing. It's very short-term thinking that it's going to keep you safe. So that data is there, and it will not want you to discover it because it's there as self-protection. So there's a tendency to avoid facing what's inside of us. There's a tendency of skipping over it or minimizing it or entertaining ourselves or watching TV or binge watching a series. Nothing wrong with these things, but just get curious as to why do I feel like I have to binge watch a series without judgment. And then you watch. Every moment it's telling you, do this, do that. I don't feel good now. Eat some ice cream. I don't feel good. Let's call a friend. Nothing wrong with these things objectively, but if you want to grow and you don't want to be stuck in these patterns because they don't make you feel good, then it's maybe worthwhile looking at that data and looking at what it's telling you to do. And you could become meditative that way, where once you realize the immensity of the data, because it's not only in you, it's also in everybody else, in past generations. So sometimes you could be dealing with emotions that are not necessarily just yours. And I believe all emotions are not necessarily just ours. But sometimes we feel like we're dealing with some things that didn't really happen in our past. We wonder why we're feeling anxious. Well, maybe because you were with somebody that was anxious the whole day and now you're feeling their anxiety. So this data is not just personal, it's the human race. It's all connected. So if you look inside and take a few moments every day just to watch it, you don't have to do it for long. Do it 30 seconds, a minute. Start there. Just watch the data. Watch the patterns. Watch what it's telling you. And that watching without judgment is your intelligence, is your pure intelligence, not intellect. It's not an accumulation of information. It's the same intelligence that is making your body grow is also watching, if you let it, if you don't intervene, if you don't interfere with it. So when you're watching, that watching by itself will guide you into what you should do. Maybe if you feel overwhelmed with the emotion because you're watching the data and it sucks you in, that's okay. Maybe you feel like you should cry. Maybe you feel like you should listen to some calming music. As long as you're being watchful, then these solutions will come. That's where creativity comes and ideas come up. So hopefully this helps. Don't hesitate to leave a feedback. I'm always curious to know what you guys are struggling with. And I'll leave a link in the description if you're interested in having a one-to-one free consultation. I do have some spaces available at this moment. Hopefully we'll reconnect soon. Take care.